is a really interesting little tool. Alyssa and I are approaching firewood cutting season, and we'll be using our chainsaws more and more. And so I thought I would kind of start hunting for a better chainsaw sharpening tool. Stumbled on this little guy, and you know, I've seen these before, but it wasn't immediately obvious to me what it was. So I thought I would just pick one up and try it out. The principle of this tool is really simple. You basically have guides that help me make sure that you've got the right depth, and it combines your tooth file with a raker file. I think that's what it's called, is the center file. It's actually a flat file. Normally you would do this in two separate tools. You'd have a guide and use a flat file, and maybe every, I don't know, 2 or 3 sharpenings, you'd take just a couple of files off of your raker there. So this is all built into one tool, and it's all set to the perfect depth. So as you go across the tooth, you're not only sharpening the tooth in reference to the tooth in front of it, but you're also knocking back that raker and making sure that it's the right height. If you take too much off the raker there, well, you'd end up with this kind of tooth sticking out, if you will. You've got this raker coming this way and the tooth coming this way, and if your height is too much, you've got too much exposed on that tooth, well, it's going to kind of bog down your saw. A lot more of a safety hazard too, because if you get hit with it, it's really going to do some damage. On the other side, if you start filing the tooth and you don't do anything with the raker, you'll actually file that tooth down to where there's no tooth exposed, and you'll just be burning gas. You're not actually cutting anything. So you want to kind of maintain this perfect height as you file that tooth and raker down. That way the tooth's always got an exposed cutting edge. It's not too much, it's not too little. It is replaceable, so you don't have to buy the handle more than once. You can pull each individual file out and replace it. It looks like, based on how this tool is designed and how it's marked, that it's really set up for one pitch. So you really want to make sure that you've got the right pitch and gauge files for this tool. You don't want to be switching between files. But the point is that the files can be replaced, and I'm sure those are easily available. In fact, I know the round files are. The flat file, that one I'm not sure where you'd pick up. Probably at your local saw shop or power tool center would have a replacement file for that. Although, man, I bet you're going to get a lot of life out of that file. The cutting files or the tooth files, those, you know, you can go through those pretty rapidly depending on how much you're sharpening. And of course the pitch is indicated here on the end of the handle. We have a couple of different saws. We actually have an 060, I think, 660. And then we also have this little guy, he's a 250, and the pitches are different. So I thought I actually bought 2 of these, one for each pitch, and I must have remembered the pitch incorrectly. I have to do some research on that and see where I screwed up, because I managed to buy 2 of the same pitch. So I made a mistake on that one. You know, all in one, hand powered, you don't need electricity. It's got really great guides. It's got nice markings on here so that you know that you've got the right angle, just like a regular saw file. You know, regular saw files got these markings on the bar. They show you what your pitch is relative to the tooth and the bar. This one's got a lot less mass, so it's really easy to get off, you know, start doing some weird stuff with the tooth. This one definitely follows the track more carefully. It's much more straight, although if you're not careful, yeah, you can start to deviate a little bit. There are arrows that indicate which direction to go, but it's gonna make sense. I mean, as soon as you start filing, it either is in the tooth or it's not. There are instructions stamped on the handles, if I didn't already mention that. The biggest problem we had is that I didn't actually know that you're supposed to knock back that forward tooth, or not, it's not a tooth, I'm gonna call it a raker. You're supposed to knock it down every so many sharpenings to maintain that distance above it. I wasn't doing that, and so I'd buy a new chain, you know, and pretty quickly it cut like a crazy fool when I first got it, and after a few sharpenings, it wasn't that it was dull, it just was making sawdust. So it's nice to have a single tool to do that. I'm not going to pass any judgment yet, although I did just go through this 250 chain, which is actually a pretty new chain. Just give it a quick sharpen. Let's just go see if this made a big difference or not. would say that sharpener did a fantastic job. This sawdust looks perfect. You know, when I first started sharpening this chain, I didn't have high hopes for it. I thought I'd already screwed it up, you know? Funny, this saw was cutting so crooked that I thought the bar was warped. And I'll admit it, it was my bad sharpening, which is so common. But look at this. Nice, good wood chippy. I mean, the chips could be a tiny bit bigger, but it's kind of a small chain. And that was probably, I mean, with the camera running, it probably took me 20 minutes to do that chain, but yeah, you could do it in a couple minutes if you got some practice. So this is even dry Doug fir, so not exactly the best wood to be chainsawing, but I figured I'd just give it a quick go through and see how she did. And for dry wood, I'd say that went pretty good. I'm really impressed with how well this little tool did. You know, I love the fact that it's reusable. You can put new files in there. I don't know if I showed you guys that, but this little door opens and files are all accessible right there. You can just pull them out, put new files in. And for a single, non-powered, non-electric, you know, can be put in your chainsaw box tool, it really doesn't get any easier than that. Of course, if you're filing a lot of chains, probably want to go with an electric sharpener, but I think it's something that anybody could use. I think Alyssa would be pretty happy to use this tool. They cost probably right around $50, maybe a little bit less, so you know, it's a pretty big jump compared to a regular chainsaw file, but it's quite a bit cheaper than a lot of the electronic or electric variations or other options that are out there. I'm curious to get another version for my 660 and just see how that works. Another question I have is that these files don't actually show a 10-degree variation. They show the 30-degree, which is right here, this little notch. So they show that one, but they don't have any indication for 10 degrees. And we use that 660 a lot for chainsaw milling, and we use a ripping chain with that, which is filed at 10 degrees. I could probably make my own 10-degree marks on these, you know, just to be sure. I'd be concerned though that because it's such a complex tool that it might not work at 10 degrees. It might screw up the filing. So as much as I love the idea of this tool, I don't know that it's like the only answer to chainsaw filing. Maybe they make a 10-degree version. I don't know. Maybe I should go look and see if maybe you can replace these guides, or it's just a part of me that thinks that if you orient that differently, it's not going to work. I'm always excited to get new tools, and you know, I haven't been feeling very well. I've got a back issue that we're still trying to get resolved, and so that's why I haven't been doing much chainsaw milling. I really haven't been running hardly any power tools at all. It's just really hard because this is why one of the reasons I came on this journey was so I could do a lot more, you know, physical stuff. I got to be really smart and not hurt myself even further. So hopefully we'll get that solved soon, and I'll start feeling a lot better, and I can get out there in the woods and start making more sawdust. I don't really have a choice. We got to get it solved soon because we got to start building a house. But it's fun today to just get out, try this new tool out, and you know, I don't know, there's something therapeutic about sharpening a chain and just giving it a quick test. Hopefully this is a real simple answer. If you're looking for something to sharpen your chainsaws with and you're kind of interested in hand sharpening, or you like the opportunity to not have to use power to sharpen, it's a Stihl tool, so I feel pretty good about that. I don't know, I doubt Husqvarna makes one of these things, and I'm not even sure that they'll work on a Husqvarna chain. I don't know why they wouldn't, but if you're a Husky user, you might want to test one out before you buy one. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.